One Word is a production of BFAC On Air.
Welcome back, everyone, to One Word. Okay, that is what we would call an awkward silence, everyone, which we do talk about in the episode. I am Dominic.
I'm Jenna.
I'm Rosie.
I'm Harmon.
And today's word is phobia. Yeah. What are you afraid of? Is it
Are you afraid
rational?
of the dark?
Is it irrational?
Are you afraid of ghosts?
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. It is October. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Halloween.
To all of you.
We didn't dress up this time.
We did not. We dressed up last year in season 2. You can catch the villain episode if you want season 2. There's another interesting haunt episode, which we reference in this episode from season 1. If you just want a Halloween fix of one-word episodes. But around this time of year, people do have phobias. And I think Halloween kind of
brings them out, yeah.
Yeah, plays off of your phobias. Maybe it's a time where we can fall in love with phobias.
Oh, I like that.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Let's not get carried away. All right.
In today's episode, we talked about getting over fears and also, as we mentioned, the fears associated with Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, we talked a little bit about how phobia does take a place in our modern day society in media and politics to sway what the general people think.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what kind of...
What do you wonder, Dominic?
Well, I just wonder, after we talked about it in the actual episode, I wonder what kind of, responsibility people have for the effect their words have on another person, and if they are indeed inciting a phobia, which is an anxiety disorder, is that responsible and ethical to do? Those questions kind of came to my head. We'll kind of let our viewers decide as they listen through to the whole episode of what responsibility certain people have in positions to influence others. What's their responsibility in the world? So we all took a quiz, actually.
We did.
On phobia.
Yep.
And it kind of told us a bit about ourselves.
Yeah.
We referenced the quiz in the episode, but we didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't think it did, because I don't agree with what it said about me, but but we took it.
I'm curious what it said for everybody.
Okay. Well, I am claustrophobic.
That's what mine said too.
Mine was arachnophobia.
Okay.
This is so weird. Okay, I specifically talk in the episode about my feelings for spiders. Yeah.
Yes.
And I get claustrophobia, and I'm not claustrophobic.
Maybe you answered the in the farm question wrong.
Maybe the in the farm. We talked about that.
I like spiders. I don't know.
I get fear of heights. And
That's accurate.
So they got that one right.
Okay.
Good job, quiz.
Okay.
Good job, quiz.
Good job, quiz. It is 25% accurate.
There you go.
That's 1 for 4.
You heard it here.
That's amazing. Yeah. No, those fears, it's so interesting talking about the fears. We talked about some really funky fears too, like some different things that you might not have heard of before. So that was, I enjoyed that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's great. I really like, and as you listen to this, listeners, I really like, we start at the beginning and we talk about Phobos, the satellite for a certain planet, and how it is leading to its own demise. And at the end, we talk about kind of politics and phobias, and I kind of feel as though there's a mirror between the satellite, which is spiraling in towards its own demise, and the political phobias which are placed upon different societies, which could potentially be leading to their own demise.
It's a metaphor.
It is.
So I found that full circle in this episode. And I'm sorry, listeners, I didn't let you get to that on your own.
Gosh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Ooh.
But it's the journey, I think, in this episode
That's
matters
what somebody
the
who
most.
spoils something would tell you. You know, it's not about how it ends. It's the journey.
the
journey.
What's it going to take
All
you
right,
on?
before there's any more, let us just get on with the episode. Do I do our names here? I can't remember.
We
anymore.
can. We can do what we want.
Yeah.
Without further ado, I just have one word for you. Phobia.
Phobia, a noun. Irrational fear, horror, or aversion, fear of an imaginary evil or undue fear of a real one. In 1776, perhaps based on a similar use in French, abstracted from compounds in phobia, the word forming element from Greek phobos.
Phobos.
Fear, panic fear, terror, outward show of fear, object fear or terror.
Yeah.
Originally flight, still the only sense in Homer, but it became the common word for fear via the notion of panic flight.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned Phobos
Phobos.
at first.
The Greek.
So what
the
is
Greek
the
root, yeah.
Yeah. So Phobos is the Greek god of fear.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's interesting.
And Phobos is also, do we know what else Phobos is?
A rapper.
Is that accurate?
No,
it
it's not.
could be. Phobos is one of the satellites or moons of Mars.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I actually did know that.
Did you?
I
And
did, yeah.
did you know this about it? It is actually spinning, so it takes like 7 hours and some minutes to go around Mars, but it is slowly spinning inward. So it will eventually lead to its own demise
Crashing into the...
and either crash into Mars or it will like disintegrate itself into a ring. And so then Mars will have a ring which goes around it potentially.
That's cool.
I'm going to tell you a little bit of Greek mythology story. A little bit of storytelling here, okay? Phobos was the lesser gods of the Olympian pantheon. Like his Titan predecessors, Phobos embodied a concept rather than playing many active roles in myth. So it's this idea of a concept. So Deimos and Phobos, they were brothers. Together were the complete personification of fear, each representing different but equally crippling facets of this complex emotion. Deimos embodied terror, dread, and hopelessness, while Phobos symbolized panic and agitation, and the overwhelming desire to flee. There's that
run,
flee, fight coming in. For example, a deer who freezes in a car's headlights would be seized by Deimos. The same deer leaping away with its white tail held high shows the influence of Phobos. Phobos and Deimos always accompanied their father Ares into battle. Their purpose was not to inspire greatness and heroic deeds in the warriors. Instead, they were invoked to confound the enemy and bring him into confusion, disorder, panic, and disgraceful retreat. Isn't that interesting? So the twins, and they were twins, drove their father's chariot, which was drawn by 4 gold-bridled, fire-breathing stallions. The importance of fear as a battle tactic. And that's something I think we'll come back to towards the end of the episode, but I want you to remember in your head the importance of fear as a battle tactic. So that's a little bit of the mythological, the Greek root. We still see Phobos as a moon today if we were on Mars.
Yes.
For all our listeners on Mars.
For all, and we do.
Mars.
We have a few listeners on Mars.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. So there's some history for you.
Can we rewind a little bit?
Let's
Do you know? Perfect.
Take it back.
Thank you.
Do you know what? So when you were talking about the twins, do you know what it made me think of? Can you guess? Okay, it made
Is
me.
it some frightening horror movie?
No.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Because I could just see like evil twins.
Right.
Like The
Well,
Shining.
yeah.
It's The
Yes.
Shining.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay, yeah.
No, it reminded me of the little in Hercules, the little
Yeah,
demons.
yeah, yeah. The
Oh,
little.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they're like what, Pain and Panic are their names?
Yeah.
Oh, the Disney
Yeah.
Disney
cartoon
one,
yeah.
is what you're talking
Disney.
about. I loved that one. when I was
Yeah.
older. Loved it. Loved
Yeah.
it.
Great.
Yeah.
That's what it made me think of.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good connection.
Occasionally I have them.
That's the history of it. Let's keep going down that historical line a little bit, and let's talk a little bit about when, at what point in in what point of history, like phobia started to come about, okay? So in 1786, according to the dictionary, the modern definition of phobia is finally defined as the fear of an imaginary evil or an undue fear of a real one. So there's a difference between phobos and phobia, okay, as we get into this point. Because in 1786, we are now defining it as an imaginary evil.
So are the phobos? So phobos is like just like we would define it as like fear. So
Fear.
like fear versus phobia, basically.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct. Yes. So,
Yeah. A normal fear, which can be helpful,
Yeah.
right. And
versus
Like
a
a-
phobia, which is irrational.
Right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that phobos is like we have fear for reason.
Right.
We have fear
Helps
in
you
us.
with that fight or flight type
Yes,
thing.
and that is more it, because that we talked about phobos and the flee. So that deer in the headlights and fleeing from it, that flight element of things. So in 1786, this is when we're kind of,
Kind of diverging.
That's when the
changing
door
path.
opens.
two roads
Yeah.
diverged in a yellow wood. So in 1786 is when we're kind of establishing that it is an imaginary evil. Going back in the history and the timeline of it, phobia is very popular today, okay? But
It's popular today?
it's a popular name and a
okay.
popular use
You're like,
of
do you have a
things.
phobia? I have a phobia.
phobia?
You don't have a phobia? Oh my gosh.
So the first known phobia is 600 BCE. It's the Byzantine Empire. The emperor was Hercules, and he had an irrational fear of large bodies of water he could possibly drown in.
I've heard of that.
You've heard about that? So that's the first recorded history of a phobia. 1162, while he was known for his ferocity in battle and slaughtering hundreds, Genghis Khan had a serious case of cynophobia, or fear of dogs. This often evoked the heavy criticism of his countrymen. Life, Dead, and Resurrection is where that one comes from, by John Mann. Then in 1786, the Oxford English Dictionary defines it for the first time as an imaginary evil or an undue fear of a real one. So it's that thing that's not necessarily going to actually cause you harm, and it's that fear isn't there keeping you safe. It's this imaginary thing.
Like the potential that something could happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like,
But irrationally so.
Irrationally, yeah.
yeah. Or like being like scared of the dark. Like, you know, there's.
Are you scared of the dark? Are you sharing something
I
now?
was going to say, do
me-
you guys
me
have any
personally.
irrational
Yeah.
fears?
While we're at it,
Okay. I feel as though Harmon's about to divulge some deep secrets
Yes.
to
Yeah.
us.
Harmon does not tell this to many people, but I
Well,
have.
you're telling it to like a lot of people.
I'm telling it
We
to a
have
lot of
listeners
people.
on
so
ours.
Trusting
welcome
you,
to the secret,
listeners.
everybody. But I actually have a very large fear of heights. I
Okay.
hate heights. I cannot stand, especially like drops from roller coasters and like
Yeah.
drop rides, like in amusement parks.
Yeah.
No.
So is it the fear of heights that you have,
I
or is it the rapid deacceleration as your body would hit the earth that you're fearful
I think
of?
the fear is just falling down.
Okay.
I like to be in control of things, so I think
Okay.
it stems from like the idea that like I have no control and it's just like a free fall.
All right. That lack of control.
Lack of control.
All right.
I have 2 fears.
Only 2.
Only 2.
That's
Yeah,
what I've got
nothing
too.
else. Nothing else. I'm fearless otherwise. But my first one is like dropping things into a place where I can't ever get them back, like my phone or
Like at the phone and like to
and like the sewage grate. Yeah,
I have that same one.
I feel so scared.
As I walk past the sewage grate, I always put it
Death grip
in
on
my
my phone.
pocket
Yes.
as I'm going past it because I have this, I don't know if it's a fear, but I just have this innate idea that it will perfectly fall
will
right
just-
into the slit of the grate.
Right through.
Oh my gosh. I thought nobody else felt
I
this.
did too.
Oh my god.
All right, listeners out there, I wonder how many of you actually have this same irrational fear that we just talked about.
My second one is this is kind of deep, but I'm scared I'm not going to like do enough with my life. Like, you know, I just want to I don't want to waste any time. I feel like I always need to be going and doing something that I value so that,
That's interesting.
yeah, because I just don't want to waste my time on earth, you know?
Yeah. Is that an irrational one? How would we define that? I don't know the answer.
I know.
I don't know if that's irrational or if that's a good fear, a phobos fear that's actually pushing her to strive. I don't know.
Well, I think it could go either way. I think it could be like a healthy thing, but then if it takes it too far, if you can't even just like relax,
Oh,
you
boy.
know,
My
or
wife's
like,
listening right now. And she's like, that is you. She's like, I can't even just sit down.
so if it's kind of like taking away from like maybe the now, then maybe it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there might be a line where it crosses. So that might be healthy to an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. To a degree.
But obsessively to it might be irrational.
Right.
Is that?
That's interesting. Okay.
Do you? I didn't know my great one was so out there.
I know.
In the world. What do you have?
Do you want to go next? Do you want me to go?
I'm struggling with this. I don't know what irrational fears I have because I think I've rationalized them. So
You're like they're not irrational.
not irrational.
I have 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I might have shared them before on here.
Okay.
One of them is of worms.
Worms.
Yeah.
Worms.
Yeah. I have an irrational fear of worms where like you're just thinking about it right now. I'm like, I can't handle it. Like if it rains,
Just
I feel
like seeing them.
Yes.
On
I'm like there are worms outside. Like
There's-
they're outside. They're there. They're doing things.
They're there.
hanging out.
And like I walk outside and I'm like I can smell them. And I keep my head up when I go to my car and just run so I don't see that I'm stepping on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's pretty bad. And somebody Zoe actually
Hey,
made
Zoe.
Hey, Zoe.
this little like ceramic box, and on top of it is a worm. It is the cutest thing. And she came in was like, "Do you want this?" I was like,
No.
I love it. And I do love it. Like it's so cute. The worm has a top hat, and I feel like it's helping me
Well, that's
like
cute,
with
the
my
top hat.
fear.
Does the top hat
Yes.
fix it for you?
I feel like the top hat fixed it for me a little
It
bit.
cutifies it.
It
Yeah.
did, but I just broke the worm, which is really sad. Anyway, but yeah, worms.
So do you want to be cremated then?
No, well, when I'm dead, it won't matter.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I won't know.
Because they, yeah.
You know? My second fear is of opening biscuit cans.
Like the ones that explode?
Yes.
Oh.
Like,
Like the Pillsbury? Like,
Yes. And like it's like press the thing. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why
Can
can't
you not
just
come up with a better way to
There's
open
gotta
this biscuit
be a
thing?
better way, and you're just standing there, and it's just like, I close my eyes, and I like, if I have to do it, I close my eyes and press.
It's like the Jack in the Box. It's like you don't know when it's
you
just
know
going to
it's
pop out.
coming, but you don't know when.
Yeah. Also, I thought of a third one, and then I'll stop
great.
talking. Sorry. Fireworks. Fireworks are hard for me, and I don't know if that's because I just have like the sound sensitivity for it, but like, and I'll go with people because I don't want to, I don't know, like not go. I'm like,
Okay.
And I'll sit there and I'll just like keep my eyes closed. And this past 4th of July, like one of my friends, he looked at me, he was like, "You good?" I was like, "I'll be fine."
It's good.
Yeah. So it
I
was,
get that though.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough. Those are my irrational fears.
Okay. Great. Those are great ones.
Those are great.
Well, where my head was, I was thinking, but is Is fireworks an irrational fear?
So I think the extent of it.
Okay.
Like if you're just like,
It goes back to that other
loud
thing.
noises,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, but I think like if I could just be in, like I often will think 4th of July is coming. I'm just gonna stay in my house all day
Right.
because I do not want to do it. Like so, if it's, I feel like if it's keeping you from doing something, that's
Yes.
where it kind of
That's
hits that.
it crosses the
Yeah.
line a little bit.
And yes, it can. It preventing you from living your life or doing something is. And they do say there's different extents of fear at different ages that are okay. So you said sound. So for example, from 0 to 2 years old, a fear of sound like that and a fear of separation from parents and all these things, those types of fears are okay.
Or no, yeah, it's
From
a
0
normal
to
fear
2
for that
years of age. And then as you grow out of that evolutionary, you should no longer be afraid of those things. And that's when it would be considered a phobia or something like that. Let's get back to the timeline real quick here, okay?
Wait, do you not
Yeah.
have any irrationals?
Me?
Oh, you gotta
Yeah,
tell
you gotta
us.
share.
I can't think of any irrational
I mean, it doesn't have
fears.
to be
Tell us
irrational, just like
just a
any
regular
fear.
fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it?
We'll
What is it?
We'll determine
the
if it's
beans.
irrational.
That's
So-
good.
Yeah.
I don't want to copy Rozzy, but I
birds?
always feel that the birds, the
birds.
red
birds.
ring. But that's not irrational.
No.
They try to dive bomb my head, Jenna. There is nothing irrational about a flying object which is intentionally stalking you and then comes and zips down and grabs you by the hair and you can do nothing to it because you get a fine.
It's a survival instinct.
Are you saying that this is irrational?
I mean, maybe the way you're going about it, it might be.
I would say, yeah, the red-winged blackbird might be. I always hated spiders when I was younger. I don't know that I have a fear of them. I hate them.
They're just kind of gross.
I just don't like them. I don't. I understand their usefulness in our society and the circle of life and all this stuff. I don't want to see them. I don't want them near me.
Stay away.
You stay doing your
Hey,
webby thing over there,
You
and
live your life. I'll live mine.
I'll leave you. You go there. So there's some. Okay.
That's good.
All right, back to the timeline. In 1871, it was written by Merold Westphal. This is the first classical text to introduce the term agoraphobia, a kind of social phobia which directly translates to fear of the marketplace. So that's a social
Fear of the
phobia.
marketplace?
Yeah.
Like just like
I think today it might be like busy places
Busy, yeah.
Oh,
or
okay. Yeah.
like
Okay.
where there's lots of people around.
In the
We're
olden
talking,
days,
yeah,
like-
1871. You'd go to the marketplace.
That was
You
the
go to the
place to be.
marketplace with
Yeah.
the homies.
That's
and
right.
Everything's crazy.
in the olden days, you go to the marketplace
olden
with your
days.
homies.
Then in 1901, Paul Hartenberg, it was a French psychiatrist, and he publishes a work describing the phenomenon of a social disorder. Impressively, the work comes very close to the modern understanding of social phobia. U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health is who reported that one. And Sigmund Freud in 1905, Freud publishes a case study dealing with horse phobia, equinophobia, of a 5-year-old boy nicknamed Little Hans. Hans would not leave his home for fear of encountering horses. I bet he lived on a farm. Or in a farm?
In a farm.
In a farm.
In a farm.
Our listeners don't know our reference there, but we all took a phobia quiz. And one of the questions in the phobia quiz was, do you like living in a farm?
Yeah, would you rather live in a farm
Or
or
not on a farm,
something
but
like that.
In
In
it,
it.
in it, in
In
it, in it. So that's kind of a timeline of some phobias and the word phobia and when it started to people started to study different types of phobia. So let's
I have a quinophobia on my list here. I have
you?
a list of A to Z phobias.
I was going to ask, what are some phobias? interesting phobias, bizarre phobias,
I can
any
share,
kind.
These are some very rare and kind of odd phobias, but
All
they
right.
do exist.
So you've got rare and odd phobias.
Yes.
Shoot us the rare and odd phobias.
Okay, the first one is paganophobia, which is the fear of beards.
Beards.
Oh.
Yeah.
I looked at that one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Do you have a fear of beards?
I do not. I think I should grow a beard.
You
But
should do it.
I cannot even imagine your beard.
Let's do
I
it.
love it.
The next one is decidophobia, which is the fear of making decisions.
Oh, there
yeah.
are people who are very I'm interested that's on the rare list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have that. Like I know
Yeah.
at least 3 people in my circle who have like
Yeah.
legit fear.
I'm terrible at making decisions. Like I hate doing it, but I don't know that I have the fear of it.
You, like,
I don't know if
dread
you could call it a
making
fear. Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's like spiders. I just
Yeah.
don't like them. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's fear or not. Okay,
Yeah.
keep going.
The next one is phobophobia, which is the fear of having a phobia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's kind of a paradox within
It
it
is.
itself, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Okay.
The next one, I honestly, I totally get this one. Globophobia, this is the fear of balloons. So it's like the
Oh.
sound that balloons make. Like I hate going into Party City because anytime I'm in there, yeah, I hate it. It's so loud.
That's intriguing.
Yeah.
And then this
I never
last,
even
But do
thought
you
about
like
that.
the balloons better when a clown is holding it?
The clowns.
do you like clowns?
I was reading about this, and so many people have a fear of clowns.
I love I know so many people do. I love clowns. I used to have clowns all over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My little brother is terrified of clowns. Like
Really?
he will like flip out if he sees one.
All right.
But like for me, I don't really get the fear. And I was looking at it, and it said that like most people are scared of them either due to a traumatic experience. I don't know, maybe at a birthday party or something else with a clown, or that they don't understand what the person under the like all the clown makeup is actually feeling. Like it's like a mask,
Oh.
and they're scared that like they don't actually know who's under all that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I can see that.
My brother is also afraid of clowns.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize it until we were at like a Mother's Day brunch. Mind you, I'm like in my 30s at this point, and my brother is also in his 30s. And we're sitting there, and this clown comes in, and then my brother just like suddenly sits still and like is not moving. And we're like, "What is your deal?"
Barely breathing.
Yeah.
Just enough oxygen to sustain life.
And then later he's like, "I hate clowns, man." We're like, "What?
That's wild.
Do you?"
Okay.
Okay.
All right, keep going with the rare ones.
I have one more, which
Okay.
I find especially interesting. It is octophobia, fear of the number 8. There were no
I
other
thought you were
number
going to say
phobias.
octopus.
I mean, that
I
makes
was
sense.
also thinking, okay,
Yeah.
octopus I could
Gosh.
get. Like they get a little weird, but I don't
Yeah.
see that.
Fear of the number 8. And that's the only one you could find.
That was the only
that was
number.
a fear of a number.
And then it talked about how, like, part of the fear was it being a sideways infinity sign.
Yeah.
It was just
I'm looking this up right now. That's
weird.
so
Yeah.
intriguing.
It is interesting. I was trying to wrap my head around it. I couldn't.
They said about 1 in 10 American adults deal. Oh, just kidding. I should have read it before I said it. I was like, oh my gosh, 1 in 10 American adults are afraid of the number 8. No, they just have a phobia. Sorry, I didn't read first, y'all. My bad.
Can you look up for me, because I thought I had it printed here, but I can't find it. Will you look up the 3 different phobia categories?
I
You have
it.
that?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, great.
Hold on a second.
So we've talked about these different phobias, and
I
we've
have 4
mentioned
categories.
some different things, and I talked about social ones here, and we talked about some bizarre ones, perhaps. Although I don't know that they're all that bizarre.
No.
Number 8.
The number 8 might be, but if you have a listener, if you have that phobia, we're not discrediting.
We support
That
you.
is-
Your fear
Yes.
is
that phobia is
It is valid.
That is
Is
okay.
it valid though? Is it?
Yes, it is.
Is it valid? Because there's things we could do to help.
We can talk
Have you,
about
have
those
you
later.
Yeah.
ever tried going to a math
All
class?
right,
Maybe.
tell us what
I
categories.
accept that you have that fear. Maybe let's work
do
through
something
it.
about it.
Let's talk about it.
Tell us what categories of fear there are.
Okay, so I have 4. So
Great.
okay.
Go with 4.
Animal phobias.
Okay.
Right, so that's your snakes, spiders, or like any of the animal phobias.
Equinophobia.
Equinophobia will fall into that. Natural environment phobias. So, such as like fear of heights, storms, water, the dark.
Did you say doors?
No, there is that though. I've heard of that.
Really?
Yeah. No, I said storms though.
Storms.
Okay. All right.
But I've heard of people being afraid of doors. Because what's it lead to? I don't know.
My house.
Into my living room.
Situational phobias. So fears triggered by a specific situation. So like
Yes, because your past can have a lot to do with the phobia you might develop, or our world. That situation might have something to do with your phobia as well. And we can talk about that later.
So like different things, and they include, like driving, tunnels, bridges, like maybe, different stuff like that. Claustrophobia would also kind of fall into situational. And then blood injection injury phobia. So those are not blood injection injury, but like blood / injection
slash injury.
So fear of like different
Hurting.
illnesses or needles or how are you with needles?
I'm
fine.
Yeah, I'm fine looking at needles. Personally, I just don't like the feeling of getting my blood drawn.
This is a hot take, but I think that getting my blood drawn is kind of fun.
No.
Yes.
You guys know those like crazy straw things, and you put them in a drink, and it like goes all the way up. It's you,
right?
And you're
it's
the
so
drink,
interesting.
And that's the crazy straw.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love watching it, and they're always
This
like,
table
maybe
is
look
split,
away.
and I think it's like this.
No, I love it. I
Yeah.
love getting my blood
I don't mind it
drawn.
at all.
I love
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Let's go get blood later.
Let's do it. Let's go donate some blood right now.
At the
My blood
marketplace.
comes out very quickly, and so anytime I donate blood, like if I'm not sitting with my head on the ground and my feet in the air, I have to tell them because it starts coming out, and I'm like ready to pass out. And one time they had to like quickly come over and get cold stuff on me, and they quickly put my head all the way to the ground and my feet in the air, and
My friend had that one time, and they told her afterwards, they're like, wow, you have really fast blood. It's like a compliment. She's like so close to passing out, and she was like, thank you.
Thanks.
So the part of the research I read also had one category as being social. There was
there's also social.
Oh, there's also social. You
Hey,
had that
there's
one,
5.
too.
There's social.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about that. I think a lot of people can identify with social phobias.
Like social anxiety.
Fear of, there's different fears, right? Fear
Gotcha.
of talking in front of a group could be one of them. Fear of giving presentations. That marketplace fear that I mentioned earlier in that timeline, that kind of being in those groups. What do we know or feel about these social phobias, which also are they kind of lead to our anxiety in our modern world? The element of being anxious in these situations has a lot to do with a phobia of certain things. So earlier I said I didn't really have a phobia. So if you were to just like see me, walk up and be like, oh, look at Dominic, right? Yeah. You would not know, I don't think, that I am in social situations a massive introvert. I get very anxious.
This is me too.
In groups of people.
Yeah, same.
And I always like to say I am an introvert in an extrovert's profession.
I was going to say, you're
right? You know what I mean? And so I do get anxiety in those social situations. And it is most likely irrational.
Yeah.
Although I've made it rational.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And that's people typically do not believe me when I say that too.
They don't believe me either.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very much the same way. But like if I know you and I'm around you, you're gonna be like, you're ridiculous. Like you talk all the time, whatever.
Yeah. I think I've rationalized it to myself a little bit. I get that way because I kind of shut down and I go inside myself because nobody really wants to talk to me. no one's interested in what I do or what I like. I kind of over rationalize that to myself, and I kind of more shut myself down in some of those public situations. However, I would rather talk to a group of 5,000 people as opposed to a small group of 15.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah. I have a question to posit to the group. Is it okay? So I used to tell people that if this is so weird that I was like, I'm much better in a group of 3 than I am in like a pair, because then at least you have another person. Like you don't have to like depend on me for the conversation. You know, where it's like, oh, what if I don't have anything to say? At least you've got this other person. Yeah.
So my friend John used to always say, every 7 minutes there's an uncomfortable silence.
Oh yeah.
Every 7 minutes.
Should we test it?
There we go. We just
there it is.
No, I do think I feel what you're saying, that when there's more people instead of just the 2, someone else can pick it up. But I still think there's going to be those moments. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a phobia of uncomfortable silences.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with silences.
Yeah.
But other people aren't.
Like,
then I'm like, oh,
then it's
no.
Then you got to work extra hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is. So we're kind of identifying these different phobias. Sorry, I'm going to keep this moving.
wait, we got to have the silence every 7 minutes.
Moment of silence.
Uncomfortable. Ooh.
Awkward.
I think that was kind of forced
Can you
because
put
we were
crickets
doing
in there?
it. Yeah, I can put crickets in there. Because we intentionally did it, so it wasn't awkward to us.
That's true. We gotta let it be natural. Let's let it be natural.
So we talked about phobias, and so here we are when we're doing this. It's October, okay? So
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Is there a ghost?
So let's talk about some phobias that make Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we have?
Black cats. I don't know if that counts.
Well, that's a superstition.
Oh.
Like ghosts,
Yeah.
paranormal
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Do you guys believe in ghosts?
Do I believe
In ghosts? Do you think that there are ghosts?
Boy,
There's that silence.
it's not uncomfortable. It's filled with pensiveness.
I don't believe in ghosts, but I don't not believe in them. I'm not gonna be like, I don't know. I feel like that's too much for my brain to make a definitive statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, it could. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like saying, are there aliens? Probably, yeah.
Somewhere,
I don't have data that says yes, there is, that I am looking at right now, but I mean, it's plausible.
Yeah.
Like,
You want data about the alien?
I think a lot of people want data about the aliens. Okay. But I would put that with ghosts. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have data that says there's not. I can't. Like, I don't know.
But why not?
It could be.
Yeah.
Why do you ask the question? Did you see one?
I thought for a little while that there was a ghost in my house. I was pretty sure. I heard.
So if you listen back to the Haunt episode that we did back in season 1, there is a story that Zoe tells about ghosts.
I forgot about that.
Yes, you should. So go back, listen to that one, because it was a very interesting story. And if you listen to that one, and if you could have seen the way she was expressing that story in person, you would swear that ghosts are real. So I believe you that there was a ghost in your house. Let's get that thing out.
I agree. I think we need to call the Ghostbusters for sure. I wouldn't say though that I'm necessarily like scared of them though. You know.
Okay. So it's not a fear.
It's not a phobia.
It's not a phobia. All right. Great. What other Halloween type phobias are there?
I was reading one about a fear of skeletons.
Okay. Fear of
Oh,
skeletons.
yeah.
Fear of skeletons, and not just like the skeleton inside you right now. That's I don't like. But like,
It's probably a phobia. That's fine.
yeah, I'm sure.
Fear
it
of your
is.
own bones.
We support you.
But it was more of
And
like
your bones support you too.
The boy. That's true. Drink milk. It's good for your
That your
bones.
bones can support you. We're here for you.
But it wasn't so much like the skeleton inside of you, but like I guess seeing skeletons just freaks people out.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that actually.
I read some about witches.
Witches?
Being scared of witches, which kind of goes off of that like irrational fear of something that like doesn't necessarily exist.
Okay.
There's hold on, I wrote this down.
Chainsaws.
Chainsaws.
The dark.
I feel like there could be like a social anxiety too that goes with Halloween, like with parties and trick or treating.
Yeah, I totally think so.
I have another story.
Go ahead.
You do your thing, and then I'll tell my story.
Oh, okay.
There is the Samhain phobia, which is the fear of Halloween.
Oh.
Likely due to past traumatic experiences with the holiday.
Interesting. Okay, what's your story, Jenna?
Okay, so this will be the last story that I tell.
No, we like stories.
We love stories.
Okay, so
Story
Halloween.
time.
I do not enjoy Halloween. I never did. I never wanted to go trick or treating. I hated it. But we went trick or treating, and I just remember walking around thinking this was the beginning. I feel like of people trying to scare people, like having somebody who was alive, laying there
on the
pretending
doorstep
they were
or something.
dead.
Yeah.
And so like I'd walk around and I'd look and I'd see, I'd be like, no, and like
This is not my bag.
right, and like friends would be going up and like I'm good over here, like and so then as I got older, people were like, you gonna go trick or treating? I'm like, why would I go trick or treating? You want me to walk up to a door, ask people, talk to somebody, and ask them for candy? Like, you want me to
Can't
go be
we just
social?
go buy a bag of
And
candy?
get
It's not that
them?
much.
This feels terrible. Like, no. So I hated it. I don't think I had a fear of it. I think I just hated.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be around people. I didn't.
No.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how some of these things can shape our lives. You know what I mean? And shape the decisions we make as human beings and with friends and all these things. Because so we have been a little lighthearted through this episode, but I think it should be noted that phobias can be a debilitating thing for
Definitely.
people,
For sure.
right? And so I mean, there is help. If you have a phobia, there is help, and understanding yourself and talking that through with a professional is a key important factor in managing the phobia and finding a way forward through the phobia. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have tips?
I do. I do have tips. Do you have tips?
I have tips too. You go first.
Me go first, and
Yeah.
you tell me if you've got them in your research as well.
Okay.
So number one, I've got 10 ways to fight your phobias, okay?
Okay.
With
Number
your
one
fists.
is to take time out. It is impossible to think clearly when you're flooded with fear or anxiety. The first thing to do is take time out so you can physically calm down. Distract yourselves from the worry for 15 minutes. Walk around the block, make a cup of coffee, tea, take a bath. That's number one. Take time out. Your mind can't take that. Breathe through the panic. That's number two. If you start to get a faster heartbeat, sweating palms, the best thing to do is fight it. Okay, that's that fight, flight thing.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Stay where you are and simply feel the panic without trying to distract yourself. Place the palm of your hand on your stomach and breathe slowly and deeply.
Or are we doing this? Sorry.
Yeah. The goal is to help the mind get used to coping with the panic, which takes the fear of fear away.
That's very calming.
Very calming.
Yeah.
Okay? Face your fears. Avoiding fears only makes them scarier. So whatever your fear, if you face it, it should start to fade. If you panic one day getting into a lift, can you tell where this article's from? It's best
Over the pond.
Yes, the next day to get back in a lift. That's like that horse. You know, have you ever heard the thing? You get thrown from a horse,
Just got to get right back
get
on.
right back on that horse. Imagine the worst.
I don't think I would though.
You don't think you get back on?
That mess hurt.
No, get
I
back
ain't
on.
getting back on that
Get
horse.
back on. Imagine the worst. Try imagining the worst thing that can happen. Perhaps it's panicking and having a heart attack. Then try to think yourself into having a heart attack. It's just not possible. The fear will run away the more you chase it.
I didn't enjoy that one.
Look at the evidence. It sometimes helps to challenge fearful thoughts. For example, if you're scared of getting trapped in a lift, ask yourself if you've ever heard of this happening to someone. Ask yourself, does a friend have a similar fear? Look at the evidence. Don't try to be perfect. Life is stressful. Yet many of us feel that our lives must be perfect. Bad days and setbacks happen, and it's important to remember that life is messy. Have that grace upon yourself almost. Visualize a happy place. Take a moment, close your eyes, and imagine a place of safety and calm. It could be a picture of you walking on a beautiful beach or snuggling up in a bed with a cat next to you, or a happy memory from childhood. Let the positive feelings soothe you until you feel more relaxed.
You should do audiobooks in this.
Good.
Number 8, talk about it. Right? Sharing your fears takes away a lot of the scariness.
Start a podcast. Make one of the topics phobias.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
Right?
not that hard.
Talk to cognitive behavioral therapy can help. If your fears aren't going away, ask for help. Seek help. That is okay. Number 9, go back to basics.
I thought you said go back to bed. Like,
No. Yeah, just go back to
get
bed.
some sleep.
It's not worth it.
Simple, everyday things like a good night's sleep, a wholesome meal, a walk are often the best cures for anxiety. A lot of times people, when they have phobias, they choose bad decisions. Like they may choose a drink or like they may choose these things that are not good for them. Simple is often better. Number 10, reward yourself. Give yourself a treat when you've made the call that you're dreading to do something. Reinforce your success by treating yourself to a massage, a country walk, a meal out, a good book, a DVD, whatever it is that makes you happy. Once you've faced that fear, you've gotten through it, reward yourself on the other side.
I like that.
Nice.
I do like that.
One thing I was reading about too, where they were saying like,
Yep.
those tips and ways to kind of when you're dealing with your phobia. And then there's people who are like, okay, I want to get over this phobia. Like, how do I get over this phobia? And they create things called fear ladders.
Sure.
So you like come up with like, what are different things that you can do, and then you kind of arrange them from least scary to most scary. So like if you're afraid of dogs, wait, I saw one here. If you have like this phobia of dogs, right, and you're just like, I can't even go to a park because there might be a dog there type thing. Your fear ladder might look like, step 1, look at pictures of dogs. Step 2, watch a video with dogs in it. 3, look at a dog through a window. Then stand across the dog from a dog on a leash.
Yeah.
Then 10 feet away from a dog on a leash. Then 5 feet away from a dog on a leash. Then next to the dog on a leash. And then pet a small dog that someone's holding.
Yeah.
Right? Pet a larger dog on a leash. Pet a larger dog off the leash. So kind of taking like
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
I've also seen that kind of thing in heights, right? Like, so Harmon was talking about, you go up 1 step on the ladder. Then you go up, you climb a ladder, 3-step ladder to a platform. You know, that similar type of thing.
Next month we'll be coming to you from the roof. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry. That was so weird to me. I'm just kidding.
Next week at Six Flags.
It's on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I would not enjoy that either. That would not be good.
All right. Let's now take this situational phobia to our world today. Let me ask you this question. Do you think at any time people are trying to give you a phobia? Think about all the facets of the world we live in. At any time, is a group of people ever trying to give you a phobia?
I mean, I guess there's like propaganda, but I wouldn't call that necessarily a phobia. I'd just sort of call that like a collective fear.
Okay.
What Razi was saying with propaganda, like maybe trying to get like a certain kind of like fear tactic against a certain group of people.
Yeah.
I think that's been used throughout history, just to garner like a dislike for different groups of people and different ways of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a study. Epstein and Stepanova did a study, and it was about political phobia and how sometimes there is a way that people try to give us a phobia and then solve that phobia with their own diplomatic ways. What they did in their study is there had to be a problem statement of some kind, right? And it could be systemic racism, violence against women, all these different things. There has to be an agent for those things. These people are doing this to us. And there have to be certain words that are used to kind of fuel us into fearing, whether it is, and they used the terms of Russian hacking and all these different things, and they judged how people responded to these different things and if they would make them take different kinds of action. So you had to have a problem statement. You had to have an agent who was doing this. And you had characteristics of an agent. They could use words like hostile and uncultured, poor, stupid. So those are kind of characteristics of it. And then you had to have an addressee. So someone you were trying to address or cause to be fearful of something. So that, in essence, I can solve this fear for you. So it's almost a way of creating a phobia in someone to gain a political vote. And this kind of is talking about in our day and age how sometimes around the world these political phobias are used to manipulate people into doing what a larger group may want them to do. And that just made me... Did you want to say something?
Do you know what this makes me think of? I look at you because I think you read the book. The one about... Oh, shoot. I'm forgetting the country. I feel like you read it in that one book club. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Shoot. I'm forgetting that... I Must Betray You.
I Must Betray You, yes.
Yes.
It's about...
what country was that?
Romania.
Romania.
And
just all of the upheaval or, the politics there and how afraid people were to really even do anything, but the government really is
Yeah.
So, I mean, that also made me think also of marketing. Mm-hmm. So how many things have been created within us because marketers have said, we have to be afraid of, I'm making this one up, this isn't a factual thing. We have to be afraid of mosquitoes. This mosquito spray will cure your fear of mosquitoes and you won't, you know what I mean? How many things have been put into us by our surroundings?
Do you think that you would call them phobias or would they just...
I think it would
fears?
depend on the person, would it not? If someone is told over and over and over and over again that you should be afraid of this, even if it is not something that we would say is rational, but if I would say one person might react to it one way and one it might become a phobia too.
Yeah, again,
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, because it also depends on like your environment and how you were like raised and like all your past experiences. So I think it just really depends on, it just depends on the person.
And everyone's brain chemistry is completely different too, right?
Yeah.
So that's also why I would think it could be completely different. I think we've got a study for some people to do. I think there's another study to say how do different minds respond to that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else it made me think of?
What?
Y2K.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's totally true. Now, I mean, we could say that was a rational fear. The whole system was going to collapse. Everything was going to be over. But how many of us actually went and sought out information, facts, had the ability and the resources to find out information for ourselves, right? In a marketing sense, I think we can. In a political sense, when we come to an election, we are granted with the wonderful privilege to vote. We're told many things, but how do we seek out the truth in different things without being manipulated by people shoving fears down our throats?
Yeah.
We've taken this journey into the intricate realm of phobias. I think it's clear that there's a tapestry of human experience that is woven with the threads of both our own instincts and the quirky intricacies of our minds. We've delved into the captivating array of phobias, from the common to the rare. Each one is a testament to the rich human emotions and responses that we have, some based on our own history, some on the world around us. Throughout history, phobias have been an enigmatic presence, leaving their mark on cultures and societies across time. We've uncovered how these fears have intertwined with Halloween, a holiday that itself celebrates the unique quirks of our imagination. But what truly lies at the core of our fears? The origin of phobias. They often spring from a mix of evolution, past experiences, and cognitive patterns. It's a reminder that our minds are complex and beautiful mosaics, shaped by both our ancestry and the stories we've lived as we've explored the causes of fears. We also uncover strategies to conquer them. Remember, you're not alone in your journey to overcome a phobia. Perhaps the most compelling lesson from our exploration is the way phobias are used in the realm of politics and marketing. Leaders throughout history have tapped into our deeply rooted fears to shape opinions or agendas. It's a reminder that understanding our fears is not just about personal growth, but also about understanding the world and the intricate dynamics. So as we conclude, let this be a call to action, a rallying cry to embrace the elements of our minds, to investigate the depths of our fears, and to step boldly forward. Just as instinct has driven us to survive, let it also propel us to thrive. Let us face our fears with the courage of explorers, the resilience of warriors, and the curiosity of scientists. Beyond our fears lies a world waiting to be discovered. Leaders waiting to be understood, and a version of ourselves waiting to be fully realized. Remember, every fear, no matter how seemingly strange, has a story to tell. It's a testament to our shared humanity. A reminder that the human experience is a mosaic of emotions, experiences, and dreams. So go. Conquer all of your fears. Investigate the world. Investigate the leaders. And most importantly, investigate yourself. The journey is yours to take. And the destination is a life lived without chains of fear. A life of boundless possibility and uncharted horizons. We have reached the end of our episode.
Wait, can I say one thing?
Yes, of course.
Do you know what Do you know what this fear is? Hepada monstra sesquipeda alia phobia.
Oh, that's the fear of long words, isn't it?
Yes!
Oh, good job. What a better way to end there. I am Dominic.
I'm Jenna.
I'm Rozzy.
I'm Harmon.
And you've been listening to One Word.
One word.
One word.
One word.
Join us next month when our word is slang.
One Word is a production of BFAC On Air.